let's get into this because this is the big one. This is the big one. Straight after international break, obviously, we play against Nottingham Forest. September 13th. September 13th, which is exactly in 5 days. We are playing against Nottingham Forest, which on paper should be an easy game because, yes, we have a lot of players starting in their international games. Merino scored a hat-trick last night, by the way. Eze, Madueke, Rice, Kelly, all of them have gone to international duty. They're playing their games and everything more and more and more. At the same time, if our depth is as good as people want us to make us believe, basically, or as top gooners are trying to make us believe, let's just put it that way, it should be no-brainer, shouldn't it? But at the same time, we have already 6-7 injuries, which means about core of the squad is already out, which is quite nuts to think about when you look at it in the perspective of that only 3 game weeks have passed, and we already have nearly a core of the squad out with injuries. And it's not like it's 1-2 game injuries. It's literally like a month, 2 months, or even longer if we talk about Jesus, Havertz, and those men. Obviously, there's speculation that Saliba might be back before September 28th, basically for Newcastle away. And I also wouldn't be surprised if Arteta rushes him back. Also, you could argue that the biggest issue for Arsenal against Newcastle is to score goals. At the same time, we are struggling even defensively against them. Yes, they have lost Isak, for example. At the same time, scoring goals, it's going to be an issue because sometimes we cannot even create. We had 1 shot on target. Or, no, we have had 3 shots on target, I think, against Newcastle in the last 3 games away at St. James's, which is already a big of a worry for me personally. But yeah, Arsenal play Nottingham Forest. Then we travel to Spain to play Bilbao, which is not a far trip. Let's be real. It's a very easy, very short trip, to be honest, which will be, I would argue, a stinkfest to some extent. Then we obviously play Man City at home, which I believe is going to be a very, very tough game. Yes, City are not the City we used to know. At the same time, Arsenal as well are not the same we used to know. Both teams have started slowly. The thing is, I would arguably give Man City psychological edge in this game. And what I mean by that is basically basing it on the result of last season. Because we beat them 5-1 at the Emirates, annihilated them, right? Which again means that they will want to get, well, one over us. Let's be real. There's no argument about that. It's going to be rough. It definitely is going to be rough. And I kind of don't see it being another 5-1. Let's just put it that way. Afterwards, obviously, we travel to Port Vale, which should be a win no matter what. If we lose that game, by the way, if we lose the game against Port Vale, Arteta should be sacked and left in Port Vale. Already telling you that much. Because there's no excuses to lose that kind of a game with the caliber of the team that we possess and we have at our disposal. At the same time, I'm not gonna lie, I am one of those people who loves a good underdog story. Basically, smaller team beating a bigger team. Hence, Plymouth beating Liverpool last year, Grimsby beating United this year. At the same time, I don't want that to happen as well at the expense of Arsenal. I'm not gonna lie. Afterwards, of course, we travel to St. James's. Then we have Olympiacos at home, which seems to be which should be an easy enough game. West Ham at home, which is a big worry for me personally, because we haven't beaten West Ham 2 years in a row at home, which definitely is going to be a tricky fixture. No matter how somehow West Ham have made Emirates in the last 2 seasons their playground. No matter how. Despite the fact that we annihilate them at the London Stadium, like 5-2 on all these results, still they managed to get one over us at the Emirates, which I hope is not the case this season, of course. Then we head into the next international break, obviously, so we're not going to go further than that. But these are the 7 games we are facing. Forest at home, Bilbao away, City at home, Port Vale away, Newcastle away, Olympiacos at home, and West Ham at home, of course. So that will be a very interesting dynamic. It will be very interesting to see how that is going to happen and how is that going to go. But definitely there are very big questions to be answered. I would like Eze in the 10. I would as well. But that means obviously that Martinelli or Trossard are going to be the left wings. if we want to kind of try and squeeze them out of the team, if we put it that way, for me personally, Eze could be starting on the left wing, but that means Odegaard is going to be in the 10. And for me personally, Odegaard shouldn't be starting in the 10. I would start Vangieri or Dauman in the 10. Dauman played under 19s against Spain this international break, and they had to foul him 10 times in the first half or something weird like that. And he also won a penalty. So Max Dauman definitely is already showing up. The players basically from La Masia and play places like that, which is a big statement. I definitely believe we have something special on his hands. The biggest worry for me personally regarding that is we have Mikel Arteta at the wheel, which means there's a big possibility he might actually stifle his development, which I don't want to see whatsoever. Because you can put in a very strong argument that if, let's just say, Flick or Luis Enrique or someone like that was in charge, those players would be starting. This isn't publicly known. Luis Skelly did a preseason warm-up in Portugal. Yes, with the women's team. Yes. I with Cooney Cross and other players. I fully believe that's why he has lost left-back spot to Calafiori. I can see the reasoning behind this. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely can see the reasoning behind this. At the same time, looking at how Calafiori is 45 million player, which means he most likely, if he doesn't get injured, he would have been playing most of the games anyways for Arsenal, which means Luis Skelly would have never gotten a chance. Basically, Arteta's back was against the wall at the time during the season, which again, at the end of the day, led to the fact that Skelly should have started. And nobody expected Skelly to be who he was last season, let's be real. And now that Calafiori is fully fit, it looks like he's fully fit. He played for Italy. He had a great game. Obviously, Italy right now are playing against Israel, and they are losing 1-0, ironically enough. Of course, Calafiori is not starting. He's on the bench. But ultimately, I think the overall main plan at any given time was basically for Calafiori to start and Skelly potentially, if it applies, for him to be the backup. Let's just put it that way. Let's just say it as it is. Sorry? And I think Arteta just lucked out, just like he did with Vangieri and Ben White and all these players. So, obviously, questions to be answered. Definitely questions to be answered. Watch Mikel Merino start in the number 9 post hat-trick, dude. If that happens, like, to some extent, it also raises some random question, right, for you all. Very random question. Right? We have seen Merino as a midfielder and as a striker for Arsenal, right? You could make a very strong and very valid argument that he's better at a striker position for Arsenal than he is at midfield, because for Spain in the midfield, he's better because he has better players around him and the international football is different. At the same time, cannot help but wonder, could Merino be an unlocked potential striker who could be a late bloomer? Like, I don't know. It's a weird conspiracy thought I have in my head, but there's definitely something to it because he scored 6 or 7 goals last year at striker and gave also decent amount of assists. He stepped in for Havertz very comfortably. So in a position where he has never played in his life, pretty much. So that is also a big question. The injuries, Arteta overplaying the players. Oh, 100%. 100%, no shadow of a doubt. Arteta won't risk it. Martinelli, Odegaard, Madueke, Gyökeres, although I wouldn't be surprised if Eze on the left and Merino is supposed to be 10. Well, if Odegaard plays for Norway, I think he will start. Let's be real. I definitely believe he will start. So against Forest, I would expect also Odegaard to start. Let's be real.